All right, yo, everybody. Here is another episode of the Mind Body Marathon. And today's show's such a joy. On today's show, we have J.R. Bremer, and who is a former player in the NBA, and my stepson, Isaac Cherry, and who is currently bowling in college. But yeah, so today's show, we're going to kind of go into and talk with J.R. about, his psychology and his lifestyle and everything that kind of sort of got him to the playing in the league, playing in the NBA. And JR, thanks so much for joining us.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
My journey's been a long journey. It was a long journey. I've transitioned to coaching now, but I started in middle school. For my middle school team, played 7th and 8th grade. And when I was in 8th grade, my middle school coach told me to take advantage of this time, and because this is probably going to be my last time playing basketball. I was probably around 5'5" when I graduated from middle school. So playing at my alma mater, which we're known for basketball, he didn't see that in my future. So I just worked hard and went in at 5'5", played freshman at Cleveland Heights High School. And then from my freshman to my sophomore year, I had like a six-inch growth spurt.
Oh, there we go.
So that helped me out a lot. And I still played JV my sophomore year, but I dressed varsity. And then moving forward from there, my junior year, I started varsity as the point guard and we ended up winning the state championship, the only one that we have at Cleveland Heights.
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. So what year was that?
That was 1997.
Oh my gosh.
And then I ended up committing to St. Bonaventure, the college that I went to, it early before my senior year. They showed the most. They wanted me the most. They gave me the most attention. So I signed early. I didn't have many options. So I wanted to take advantage of being able to go to college for free. And I had an incredible senior year where I averaged about 26, 27 points my senior year. And a lot of the colleges called them, but I'm more, it was too late. I had
loyalty right there.
Right. I'm big on loyalty and big on people who saw things in me that I might not have saw in myself or just knew that I had in me. And once I got the opportunity to showcase it, I did.
Yeah. Do you feel like that your senior year, you were able to play a little bit more free once you had that signing?
Yeah, I was. And the roles were just different. Like I had a role as a point guard my junior year. We had 3 guys that went D1 who were really, really good players, and they were seniors, and those were the guys on the team. So I just had to play my role, pass the ball, make assists, knock down shots when I had to. And then moving into my senior year, I turned into the guy. So I had a lot more freedom of shooting the ball, and that's why my averages went up.
What was it about basketball that caught your attention?
I liked it from a young age. I was real young. Like I said, I was short, but I always just wanted to shoot threes. Like I would pick it from my hip and just throw it as far as I can and shoot long threes. And it just stuck with me. Then I started loving it. My father played, my brother played. So it was already instilled in me.
And where are you at in the grand scheme of the siblings?
I'm the best in the family for sure.
That's kind of like your journey. Your junior year, you were getting looked at by Grove City a lot. And then and then you had some other colleges get some interest in you. And then we were like, just go with the one that showed you the most interest.
It was just like with Grove, especially like that was early junior year. And I was like going through, getting done with my halfway through my senior. I'm like, I'm not really getting any more attention that I like. And it's like, it was just too much to try to put that extra pressure on myself to perform.
Yeah.
I thought that I felt for sure way more free. Like I remember after I committed to Grove, made my verbal commitment to my coach and everything, I my percentages and everything went up by 5. I was scoring I've scored 5 more points. And
that's kind of the point I brought up with you. It's like you just do get more free, and I don't know, it's kind of like you made it. You know what I mean? You got that. That's the big jump.
That is. It's a huge jump from college to high school, and like he said, he put a lot of pressure on yourself when you don't know where you're going at that moment. So sometimes that pressure wears on you, but once you commit, it's like I'm free. I can just go out here and play. I don't have any worries.
So your time at St. Bonaventure, so how was that? Were you there all 4 years, or did you get out early?
Yep, all 4 years at Bonaventure. My freshman year, I came in. I got the opportunity to play early because the point guard ended up getting injured, and I was like the backup point guard. Normally, freshmen don't play much at a higher level team. At St. Bonaventure, they were in the Atlantic 10. There was really, really good teams in there, and so I got the opportunity to play early and got some experience early, and it was good. And each year, my numbers went up from points, assists, minutes, and percentages. Like everything got better every year. My sophomore year, we went to the NCAA tournament. I broke my foot at the beginning of the year, so I was out probably 8 to 9 weeks. And I could either redshirted or come back, but I had already built that relationship and that chemistry with that team from my freshman year. So I came back for that half a season, had the tournament down here in Cleveland State, played Kentucky. We ended up losing to them in double overtime. It was a great game. It was that 5-12. You know, that 5 always gets upset by a 12 seed. And we were up 3 with like 10 seconds left. And I asked my coach, I said, we should foul. He was like, no, let's just play defense. And Tayshaun Prince hit a 3 to send it into the first overtime. And then they were up 3 and they didn't foul. And our guy got fouled on a 3-pointer with no time on the clock. He made all 3 free throws. And then we ended up losing double overtime. It was so much, but it was a great experience. And then my junior year, more of a role, point guard, but I ended up averaging like 16 points, was third team all conference. And then my senior year, that was when similar to my high school career, and it was all on me, green light. We ended up getting a new coach, Ben Bredikov, who was big on playing defense and just giving you freedom on offense. And so I averaged like 24.5 points. It was like third in the nation.
Dang. So then at what point did you know you could make it to the league? Was it that year?
It was probably that year because
was it always sort of on your mind?
Never was until my junior year when I ended up third team all conference, and then the new coach came in. We went over to Europe for a summer trip, and I averaged like 37 in Europe. I was like, I might be able to do something with this basketball thing. But before, it was just getting my education and enjoying basketball at that moment. And then that year, he had just had a player that went to the NBA. He was at Pepperdine. The coach was at Pepperdine before, and he was like, you're a much better player. You just 3 or 4 inches shorter. So I don't know how your future is going to hold, but you have the skills, you have the talent and the work ethic to do it. So that's when I really started believing.
That's awesome. So, and at that time, was Europe much of an option, or was just pretty much the NBA the only thing?
I was blind to Europe like most people are still to this day. It's starting to get a little bit more in open because we have so many Europeans in the NBA, but at that time wasn't many Europeans in the NBA. So I didn't know much about it. I had an agent come to me and he ended up signing with him. He told me, I'm going to get you an NBA. You might not get drafted, but I'm going to get you there just because small college, small name. But that was the path that I decided to take, and I ended up doing it well.
So like as a current like college hooper, like when you took that next step for you, like what was the biggest shift, like physically and mentally? Like how did you adjust like that period
from
college
from
to
high school to college,
from high school to college,
from that, and then from college to NBA, both?
The biggest shift was our strength coach. Like I thought I was in shape, I thought I was strong, but I really wasn't. Like just like night and day when you're coming from high school to college. Like the work ethic, the hours that you have to put in, the things that are mandatory. Is in high school you have your practice after school, and then that's it. You got weightlifting occasionally, but there you got your preseason, you got numbers that you have to hit before you can even step on the court. You got to do a mile in a certain amount of time before you can step on the court. And then the weightlifting is big because it's just so physical. And everybody is strong and athletic. Like in high school, you might be the 1 or 2 guys that are strong, athletic. But now everybody on your team and the teams you're playing against, those guys are all equal to you. So what's going to make you stand out? And for me, it was my work ethic. Like I worked extremely hard at all times because I was always the underdog. So I always had that in my mind. Like, nobody thinks I should be here, so I'm going to continue to prove why I'm here.
I feel like that's always a theme in sports, and anybody that makes it to the next level and then has great stories at the highest level possible in pro sports, it's like there's always that sentiment.
It is. Like knowing that in middle school, my coach told me I would probably never put on a high school varsity jersey.
I mean,
that drove me, and now my jersey is retired on the wall.
Yeah.
So it means a lot.
It's so awesome. And I feel like if the path is paved too much for you too early, then why would it be that you work extra hard and just put in the hours? I mean, it's because like you've been given pretty much everything handed to you. So when it gets harder at each level, it's harder to match that intensity because you never really built that infrastructure of intensity.
Yep, I agree. You don't know how to work. Like a lot of guys that were ahead of me, they were 4 stars, 3 stars, and they were just naturally good.
Yeah.
So as the years went on, when everybody was catching up, they didn't have that work ethic instilled in them. So they didn't know what to do when the competition came and things like that, because they was always so far ahead of everybody.
So kind of flipping the role now. So you have kids and your kids are obviously interested in sports. Like how are you able to kind of instill that kind of grinder, dog mentality in them?
I try to do it carefully because the generations have changed so much that like my middle son, he really can't handle that get that dog in them and hard coaching and me being on them heavily. My youngest, he can take it really well. So you just got to understand the mentality of the kids and
Yeah.
understand what can get them going. Like my middle son, I have to be real calm and talk to him nicely and let him know like this is what we're trying to achieve. This is how we achieve it. And then my youngest, I can really get on and
You know,
he can take it.
And that's a really good point, because a lot of times, because, I ran professionally, and then, I'm really involved with USA track. So I see track from the professional side of it, both as an athlete and as a provider. And what I've noticed that like a lot of people are always like, oh my God, kids are so much faster these days than ever. And it's like, yes, they are. But I think that at the tippy top, they're faster, but just not as much as you might think. But I think the groundswell of athletes is so much bigger. Like the average runner is so much better. And I think that's because coaches have gotten really good at specializing in each individual runner and understanding that it's not like, the 1970s, 1980s mentality where you just do the same things and whoever survives, that's what they do. But it's more just like being very, like, even psychologically, like you're saying with your sons, it's like you have to coach each of them different.
Yep.
And we're getting better at understanding that principle and even training them different based on that. And then it's like the talent level doesn't necessarily potentially change. It's more just like, how do you get to that athlete? And I think coaches are getting better at that.
Yeah, I agree. It's just maximizing that athlete's talents. Like, you got to understand what works and what doesn't. What works for one of my players doesn't work for the other one. So you really got to be able to individualize them and help them in that way.
How are you able to do that with regards to, because you coach, high school, right? So you're at, Cleveland Heights coaching, right? And then you coach AAU. And then do you go through like, how do you get to know your athletes from a psychological perspective? Like do you do specific like clearance tests, or you do anything like that? Or you just kind of just conversation with them, just kind of getting a feel for what's the best way to interact with them?
It's more conversation and building that relationship outside of basketball. I think that's super important. And a lot of coaches don't do that. Like, that's the most important thing for me, is to build a relationship with the kid and let them know that they can trust me. I'm here to help. I only want the best for them. And then after that, I'll try my different strategies. My first strategy is always be hard on them to see how they can handle it, because everything was hard on me. So I know what it took for me to get there.
Yeah.
And then if I see they can't handle it, then I'll change those ways.
What was the intensity like going from college to pro? Was that the biggest chasm?
It was a lot more freedom when you went from college to pro.
Oh, really?
Like, in college, you had morning workouts, you had classes, you had afternoon workouts, you had study hall, then you had practice, and then you were right back to it. In the NBA, is the first week you were allowed to do 2-a-days, and after that, you can't do 2-a-days anymore. And then you practice in the morning time, and you have the rest of the day free. So just finding that balance to be able to be free, but also continue to work on your game, was the hardest part for me. And then eventually I got it. But our coaching staff was really, really good. And they demanded us being in there early. They demanded us being in there late. So that really helped me a lot.
So you were in the league with a couple different teams. What was your favorite experience?
My favorite one was Boston. Boston was my first team. I never had a workout for them. After leaving college, I had like 17 or 18 workouts with different teams. And Boston was not one of them. And somehow I ended up there. I was in Memphis, where I had to work out with them for their summer league, and I just wasn't getting the opportunity that they said I was going to get.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving on the red eye from Memphis to Boston. My agent had said, we can go here for a couple of days. Then we had another stop, and I had a really good 2 days there. And before I got a chance to leave again, they offered me a contract for 2 years.
That's
so
awesome.
That was great for there. And we went to the playoffs. I played in the playoffs, so that was definitely my most fondest experience.
Yeah.
As far as like NBA goes, like, who would you say as a teammate was like your favorite teammate?
Yeah.
Because like that's always something like I think about, like inner team relationships.
My favorite teammate was Antoine Walker. Just from a teammate standpoint, he's a great guy. He looked out for me. He did whatever was needed, and he was just a great guy. Like, if you need anything, he was there. He'd come work out with you. He was a listening ear. He'd take you out. He'd handle things, and he know you're a rookie, so a lot of things that you can't afford and pay for and stuff like that, and he would handle all that. But he made sure we got our work in. He made sure that I was doing the right thing, that I was on the right course. So I would go with him. My most highest profile, of course, is LeBron, but he was young. He was 18 years old, so he was a kid. But it was fun. But it was a different time, a different type of vibe. But Antoine Walker for sure.
So when you got the experience to be with LeBron and he came in the league that young, what did he? What was the locker room like during that time?
It was a fun locker room, and we had LeBron, and we had Darius Miles, and we had Boozer, and we had the veteran Z and Ricky Davis. So it was a lot of different personalities in the locker room. And then we had our old head, Kevin Ali, who really kept the locker room where it's supposed to be. So it was fun. LeBron came in. I mean, he was a freak of nature, just like he is now at 40. Great kid, incredible IQ, and it's just the atmosphere. Like it was, anytime you stepped out, it was 30, 40 media every single
Yeah.
day ready to talk to him. They walk right past me to go to his locker room. But of course, that's how it was. And then the games were the same thing. They were so exciting. And every game you would see something spectacular from an 18-year-old that you wouldn't expect
Yeah.
to see.
My I ran at Malone, which is a small little Christian school south of here, down in Canton. And my college teammate was from Alaska, and he was my roommate as well. And he played in the Alaskan State Championship Finals against East Tech. So he went to Kodiak High School, and he beat Carlos in the finals.
Wow.
Yeah, they had I forget their big's name, but they had a big that was all over Carlos Boozer that year.
Mhm.
And he they ended up beating him in the final, and then that guy ended up playing from Binghamton.
Okay. That's
So it's
in
pretty-
New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So random though. But like one time we went to a Cavs game and he's like, "Oh, I know Carlos," and he goes down and he just like talks to him. Like two Alaska basketball
Right.
players.
Two Alaskans. That's funny.
He played for East Tech in Anchorage.
Wow.
I had another thought, just like when you were saying like old head, like how important, like is it more important in the pros to have a kind of guy who's older, more experienced, like knows the ropes like that than it was in college, like to have that mentor kind of person, like for the whole team? Like how that?
Yeah.
I feel like it would be because the college coach just sort of controls everything, right?
Mhm,
And then in NBA, it's sort of like that's a little less domineering, I would imagine.
Right. In college, the guy that's the old head has been there for 3 years, and his fourth year to be your first. So
Yeah.
he's kind of new. I mean, he understands the ropes, but in the NBA, like guys have had 7, 8, 9 years into the league, so they know how to move. They know how to tell the rookies to the do's and the don'ts, and just you need those guys in there. That's why you see so many guys that's 13, 14 years in the league. They don't play at all, but they're just locker room guys, and those locker room guys keep the locker room steady. They keep the guys under control and making sure they're on the right track.
What's the average playing time in the NBA? I know in the NFL it's like just under 3.5 years.
Yeah, it's around the same in NBA.
Wow.
3 to 4 years. It goes fast. I ended up playing 2. I didn't think I was going to be part of that, but I was.
Yeah. Huh. That's pretty cool. So now you're on the coaching side, right?
Hmm.
So how'd you guys do this year?
We ended up losing in the district
who?
finals to St. Edwards
St.
in
Ed's.
Lakewood. Yeah, it was we really thought we were going to win that game, and the winner would have played St. Ignatius
Yeah.
at Kent in the regional semis. And 3 years ago, we lost to Ignatius at Kent in the regional semis. So we were all hoping for that rematch.
Yeah.
We jumped out early, got a 10-point lead, got a little bit too comfortable. Those guys started knocking down some shots, and they got a lot of guys that can play and really shoot the ball.
Yeah. So it's intriguing to me. I didn't realize that the 3 was sort of your thing. So
Yeah, it was a lot of in the area. Yeah, overseas, nobody believed it because I was more of like a pure
Yeah.
point guard. I was pass first, really shot. And then over here, they would say I was a gunner. I never passed the ball. So a lot of my friends here were like, when they hear I'm only passing overseas, they won't believe. And then overseas, they would not believe that I could score. But the 3 was my thing. I really like to shoot that more than anything else.
Do you think the 3 ball is killing the league right now?
I think it's hurting it. Yeah, because it might not be killing the league, but it's killing the youth that's coming up that's watching the NBA, because all they see is like deep threes and half court shots sometimes, 2 steps over the line, 3 steps behind the NBA line. So they just come out and you just see kids working on that as soon as they step on the court. Like they don't understand how many hours and how much sweat and these pros have put in.
I know. I was talking with Isaac a while back about this because who's the commissioner now? Silver?
Adam
Yeah.
Silver.
So Silver was talking about how the NBA dominates on social media,
Mhm.
right? So in terms of all the leagues, NFL, NBA, MLB, all that, NHL, they dominate on the socials, but their ratings are very close to the NHL. Like it's low. The actual TV ratings are
Mhm.
terrible. And the thought process is what people see on social media is not what they're actually getting as the product on the actual TV.
Mhm.
And that's why March Madness is such a big thing, because you actually see people, doing defensive shifts and, playing more layered basketball and not just shooting, and they're actually trying. That's what a lot of people will actually say. But what's interesting is when you watch all like I said, Silver was bringing this up. When you watch the statistics on the socials, people click on more like dunks and drives and things like that. But then when they watch the NBA game, they're not seeing that hardly.
Right.
And so that's the disconnect in terms of ratings and what the actual potential is. So they're potentially throwing out some ideas on like how to manipulate the three ball so that it kind of statistically gets the ratings up a little bit. So what's sort of your thought on those, them kind of messing with the strategy of the game and even the play of the game?
It's gonna be hard to manipulate it because when you watch the game, like that's what it is. You can watch like 7 or 8 straight possessions and you'll just see nothing but threes. Like sometimes it's hard for me to watch. Like, is this basketball or is this what are we doing here? So I don't know how they're going to manipulate it, but I can understand why the ratings are down because you still have your dunks and everything, but it's either a three or a layup or a dunk. There's no more mid range, no more. And I mean, in the NBA, there's no second line defense. So once you get past your first guy, either gonna have a layup or somebody's gonna have a wide open shot. Like when you watch March Madness, it's so much rotations. The guys are working so hard and taking charges and moving the ball. So it's a completely different game, but it's funner to watch March Madness and just because it's so exciting, it's one and done. The NBA playoffs, those get more exciting. The ratings will start going up because it'll be more of a half court style offense, and they know every possession matters. But just during the regular season, sometimes it's hard to watch it.
Well, things evolve. Like I know in the NFL, like 5 years ago, we were talking about how trash running backs are, and all of a sudden Saquon got his big contract, and so things evolve for sure. So I think the NBA is fine. I hope they don't make a kind of a hyperbolic decision and try to change the game too much. But I think ultimately coaches will start to figure this out. And I think the Cavs right now are starting to do that. They're starting to kind of have some interesting defensive lineups and some play strategies that I is part of the reason why they're having a nice success.
Yeah, I enjoy watching the Cavs. Like just the way the ball moves and the players are playing for each other, and they're not just coming down jacking threes. You'll have some possessions where they shoot the three, but they got so many different weapons with the two bigs inside, and then you got the two guards that are extremely hard to guard, and plus our shooters. So those guys, but they'll shoot the mid range, they'll shoot some layups, they'll mix everything up.
So I'm curious about like international versus domestic, basically upbringing of basketball. So like right now in the NBA, there's definitely a lot of your major players are all international, and we're having some domestic kids come up and be a lot more relevant. But what is it about international basketball that's changing the NBA game?
The development of their youth is a lot more over in Europe. Like Luka, he was playing with the pros since he was 14 years old. Like Giannis, when he was young, they've been playing professional basketball at such a young age. So when they come over at like 18 or 19, like the rookie, but he's been playing with pros and grown men for the majority of their career, and they have a lot of focus on development. Over here, our AAU programs are going down, I believe, by the year, just because there's really no focus on development anymore. They just make as many teams as you can and just let them go out and play. So having that basketball IQ and understanding how to play basketball is going down year by year. Like even me coaching seniors, I teach them things that I shouldn't have to teach.
Do you think the transfer portal was potentially playing into that, like in terms of the lack of development? For instance, I know with the NFL, a lot of GMs are frustrated with the quality of product they're getting out of college now because kids are transferring every year, so they're not developing under Nick Saban for 3-4 years and getting some of those core tenets worked out, so that way when they get to the league, they're able to be a bit better rookie. Do you think that's kind of happening in basketball as well?
I think that, and just the kids being able to have accountability in their work ethic. Like now they know, like, I'm gonna play here 1 year. If I'm not comfortable, I don't like it, I'm leaving and I'm going to play somewhere else. And I can get paid to do it. And if I don't like it there, I'm leaving again. So that sense of urgency and work ethic and working for something that you want is not there anymore, because they know they can leave anytime that they want to leave. When I was in college, and if you wanted to go to another college, you had to sit out a whole year. There was no portal. If you wanted to go, you had to sit a year out. So I think if they had to sit, or they had to like actually work for something, I think it would change. But it's really watering down basketball, and the kids and the parents are the same way. They think everybody thinks their kid is the greatest and should be getting this and shouldn't be getting that, and wondering why they're not getting these different things. So I think all those things play a key part.
Yeah, I would say like from as a current player who sees like what the portal does and stuff like that, like the entitlement of players right now, I think is what's like, because I remember like growing up looking at like I see overtime posting all these hoopers, like,
Mhm.
you know, high rankings, whatever. And a lot of these kids, like that I know that are my age, like even looking at like Mikey Williams, they like
Mhm.
fell off a cliff because they had that entitlement going into it. They don't have that mentality of like, I'm trying to grow, I'm trying to become a better player. It's like I'm just trying to get mine.
Yeah.
Well, in running, we see this from a very tangible perspective, and this is why I'm always intrigued to kind of talk to professionals from other sports because, again, in running, the tangible perspective is we can monitor force based on miles per week, and that's a very objective thing. We know exactly what workload they're putting in.
Mhm.
Period. In basketball, it's harder, right? Because you can be in the gym so many hours, but you might be sitting around drinking Gatorade like for half that time. But like it's like harder to put into quantity what your actual volume is. But in running, when you get those like blue collar grinder runners that didn't necessarily have a decorated college, high school career, and then they run in college, but it's not at a high college. But the great thing about running is you can jump platforms because you can be a great Division III runner, but still beat up on Division I guys because
Mhm.
you can run in those meets and
Mhm.
you could just run faster than them. And you can still literally make an Olympic team because if you just run fast enough, you can come from any level and
Right.
get to there. So a lot of these like blue collar like runners, they put in the higher volume early on because they're not so gifted and they do crazy workload and that creates this nasty foundation for them.
Mhm.
So that way they can just sort of sprinkle in all these different kind of workouts later in their career and then all of a sudden flex to a professional. And a lot of times these are the guys that make it to the highest level, like the Olympic level.
Yeah, the guys that work the hardest, the work always ends up showing. Like you mentioned, Mikey Williams, he was getting paid thousands of dollars in high school just to go play and different things. So it takes away for your love from the game. It's just like, I'm gonna get paid to go do this. Let me show up at this city. Let me show up in that city. And he's playing with one of the guys that played for me, Keyshawn Hall, who wasn't given anything, and Keyshawn is playing out of his mind right now. But he had that work ethic. He had that hunger. Like, I'm not getting it. I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna keep working until I get there. And it's hard when somebody's just giving you everything that you want. You want this, you can have it. You want this, you can have it. So it's not
Yeah.
like, well, I don't need to get in the gym right now. I'm gonna get this 50,000 next week, regardless. So it turns into money grab instead of really enjoying the game that you play.
Well, I feel like the hidden principle here with a game like basketball is that it is just straight up more volume you're putting in, and you're creating more of a stronger, durable body,
Mhm.
essentially.
Mhm.
Because you're, you're just literally putting, it's a lot of time on your feet. You're just getting stronger. You're building a stronger frame. Um, and a lot of it is like you don't necessarily because to play in the NBA there's skill. Let's just take the NFL for example, because that would be the extreme example. So in running, it's there's some talent obviously, but it's a lot of it is durability. The NFL is sort of the same way, right? Like it's not always the fastest person. That's why I'm excited for like flag football
Mhm.
to come into the next Olympics because you will get the fastest people and the highest jumping people, but you don't always get that in the NFL because
Right.
they're maybe not as durable.
Right.
So to play in the league there, you have to be very durable. Like how much of it is like, because a lot of times you get somebody like a Zion
Mhm.
coming into the league and they're not durable, but yet they're super gifted. So like, what are some of the things that you would tell people that they would potentially need to work on early in their career to make sure that they can handle the durability at the next level?
Making sure you take care of your health, like that's super important. Just eating right, um, doing the nutrition thing. Is when you're young, you don't pay it much mind. Like when I was young, coming in my rookie year, I was eating double fillet of fishes before the game because I know my metabolism would burn them out. But then as the years went on, as I got older, I had to pay attention to my nutrition because my body just didn't respond like it did when you were young. So it's harder when you're younger because your metabolism, you're young, you heal faster, you're jumping out the gym. But as you get older, those things wear down, and still got to be able to stand out and do. Zion, I think a lot of it went to his weight. Like it's just hard
Yeah.
to carry that many pounds for so long. When he was young, in high school and before high school, and the beginning of the NBA career, you can do it. But once you got to carry it for so much longer, and the stress on your body for 82 games with all that travel and everything, it really plays a big part.
One of the most fascinating components of basketball is also it's an endurance sport, right? So how do you train sufficiently for the endurance of the game, but also be strong and not lose your jump and your twitch?
You train. You only really can get in shape when you're playing basketball. Like all the running and the miles and the suicides, like those things are good for conditioning. But basketball shape is different than that type of conditioning. So you just got to make sure you have a good trainer who knows what he's doing. Like each trainer is specialized in some things,
Yeah.
so you can't go to a trainer that's used to working with football guys, and you got to go to a trainer that's used to working with basketball guys who knows what exercises to put you through, who knows what movements that you need, the fast twitch muscles and all those things to keep you at your highest performance. So that would be my biggest thing. My trainer, it was Tim, and he had a lot of guys in the NBA where you had specific workouts for basketball, and he had some football guys, and their workouts look completely different than mine because we're working different muscles, we have different movements. So I think that that helped me a lot.
At what point did you get connected with him?
I got connected with him when I was in college. He was down at Speed Strength. I was getting ready for the draft, and I skipped a little bit of my senior year to go down and work out with him. They had some guys, Nene Hilario, who was a first team all NBA. He was down there from Brazil. So I started working out with him for about 3 or 4 months, and we got the connection. I stayed with him for the rest of my career and still work out with him every now and then here. But my kids go to him also.
Where is he at?
He's in Chillicothe. He's called Speed Strength. He was at the Euclid Sports Plant, but now it's Speed Strength out in Chillicothe, Ohio.
That's pretty cool.
I just had a question. I had to go on too.
I thought you were going to say something.
I literally had something, but I can't remember what it was.
So walk me through, when you're in the league, did the teams have like, mental support, nutritionists? What were some of the ancillary things that they supported you with?
They had everything. Anything you needed, they had someone for it. They had psychologists, nutritionists, mental support. You had your coaches, you had your therapy, like whatever you needed at that moment, they would provide for you. So there was nothing that you could want or that you could need that they wouldn't be able to provide for you. You just had to ask for it. A lot of guys, especially on the mental side, they don't want to ask, or they don't want to feel like they're vulnerable and stuff like that. So, but we had it, and the coaching staff was great. They demanded a lot, but they were overall they were great.
I feel like in today's game, the mental aspect is probably way more important. Yeah, and I know with USA Track, we travel. When I first started with them in 2016, we had like 1 or 2 sports psych period, and then now when we travel to big meets, we have like 3 or 4 sports psych with us, which is awesome. And I just feel like there's so much media out there about people, and there's so many platforms that people can gather on you, that it's just like it can really mess with you, I think.
It can. If you start watching things on TV or reading the news or hearing things, it can really mess with your mental if you don't have that strong mental. And just having someone there that is for you and believes in you, and you can talk to them and get through those different things that might be bothering you that you normally wouldn't talk to someone with, is important for the sport. Like, we don't have it in high school, so I try to be that support mechanism.
Yeah, I was just about to ask how you do that. So what are some of the techniques that you kind of help employ with your athletes?
It's a lot of one-on-one talking. Like I said, that relationship building in the beginning is the most important, because once you build that relationship and once they trust you and know that you're there for them, and it's not just for basketball, or it's not just for wins and losses, like everything matters. Like every player that I've coached, they mean more to me as a human than they did as a basketball player. Like, I enjoy winning, I love it, don't get me wrong, but if they can progress and become a young man and move on in college and be able to succeed and take some things that I taught them, that's more important than winning for me. So I want to make sure they all know that.
Yeah, that's cool. So what are some of the other intangibles that people can kind of take from this conversation that help kind of you personally get to, I mean, we talked about mindset, so maybe we can flesh that out a little bit. Like, it wasn't even until your junior year in college that you sort of thought about the league. Did you do meditation? Did you do visualization? Did you just, what were some of your techniques? Or was it just like, I'm just going to work hard and just see where it goes?
Work hard was the number one thing. And I didn't meditate much. My brother was big on that, so we did it every now and then. But speaking it into existence, like, I think what's in your mind and what you're speaking out into the atmosphere usually happens. And so you got to have that positive mindset and understand that things are not going to be good all the time. It's going to be some ups and downs. It's going to be some adversity, but just continuing to believe in yourself and continuing to put that work ethic in, and knowing what your goal is and where you're trying to reach. So at the end of the day, every time I looked in that mirror, I could say, like, I gave everything I had. I attempted everything I wanted to try, and then if it failed, it failed. But I know it failed that I gave everything. I never wanted to look in the mirror and be like, I should have did this, or I could have did more of that, or maybe if I did this, then this could have happened. So I think just giving everything working extremely hard and not listening to the outside noise.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many people that tell you different things.
I was gonna say like the outside noise, like whole like mental side, like that was something I took a bit more serious this season. Like I believe around January, I was on social. I'm just like I just don't feel like
Yeah,
I'm
you
getting
went
what I
a
wanted.
hiatus from it, right?
So I
Mhm.
took a 2-month break off of all social media, like just deleted all of it, told all my like close friends, like, hey, like I'm gonna get off, but like if you
Mhm.
need me, I'm still here, kind of thing. And like it really did help. Like I didn't see the improvements in my game right away with it, but just through my day-to-day life, like it felt so much better to just be like, hey, like it's on me, right? Like
Mhm.
I'm only worrying about my input, my work ethic, like my focus. Like that was every single day was like it's my mind, right? Like I don't have to worry about what other people are inputting into me. And like that helps so much,
Yeah.
especially in a game like basketball. It's so mental.
Well, what's interesting is like in our era, if we wanted to speak something into existence, which I like you said that because that's genuinely, I mean, it sounds hokey pokey,
Mhm.
right? It does, but it's like that's how it works.
Mhm.
You put enough energy into something and you make it clear that's your intent, and the universe goes, okay, good or bad,
Right. Right.
it does it. But when you're on social media, you're diving into other people's worlds and what other people are speaking into existence, and in the end you're not crafting your own narrative.
Mhm.
And people that get tied up in that, they're not understanding that you need to take a step back and what do you want, like what is it that you're actually driving towards. And that's really how it works, is just basically just like locking in. And because your brain and the universe and everything is just sort of like, all right, if you put enough energy and intent out there, it'll just sort of follow through with it. So it's funny, if you go, just like you said, there's always going to be some setbacks and some things like that. So a lot of times you'll say to yourself, all right, I want to make it to this next level, or I want to win this race, or I want to win this game. And a lot of times, like, it may not come in the exact way you think, but if you look back on it, you go, oh wow, that did actually happen.
Mhm.
But along the way, there's setbacks, there's this, there's that. But in the end, the what you wanted to happen ultimately does usually happen.
Yep, I agree, and then especially when you're looking at social media, you tend to start comparing yourself to the things that you see and start wondering, well, why am I not getting this? Why am I not getting that? And it takes your focus away of where you want to get to and how to get to it, and the goals that you set. Like Isaac said, once he closed out his social media and started really focusing on himself, he didn't see it in the beginning, but in the long run, he saw the progression and things, and that's how it works. And I believe truly in heart, like social media is hurting our youth. Highlight tapes, those are hurting everything, because you're never going to see a highlight tape where someone is playing bad. Like a highlight tape, you could be the worst player on the team and he'll have a 5-minute highlight tape, and those are his only highlights. Like, oh man, that kid is so good. Like, no, not really.
That's a really good point. They should almost have like the worst highlights
Yeah.
and the highlights.
You're
thought
never
about
gonna
that
see a
one
bad highlight tape. So I tell my kids that a lot in high school. They, man, check these highlights out. Like, yeah, they look really good, right? Like, yeah, like let me see you make a highlight tape that doesn't look good. That's the whole purpose of a highlight tape. So
No, that was like I literally thought about that one. I remember back in high school, even now, like thinking about it, like I used to be like, I want to put like a play of me messing up and just like getting back, because like I feel like that means more to like me. Like when I like have that, like I just messed up, but it's cool. Like I'm gonna fix my mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your basement, right? We're all talking about the ceiling, but it's like, what is your basement? Like how much of a liability are you on the court?
right. Nobody wants to see that part. And I think, like you said, with the failure and you want to achieve something, and sometimes you won't achieve exactly what you want. But if you look at what you're trying to get to, you can always take something out of it. Like if you run in track, my kids, they run track, and he runs the 400 and he ran his first 300 incredible, and his last 100 was bad. Like he didn't run a bad 400, he just ran a bad 100, but that 300 was good. So you build on that. And just for basketball, like for players or for me, like we want to go in and win the game, and we ended up losing the game. And everybody said, JR, how you always so positive? I said, because being negative is not going to help us get better. It's not going to do anything. So we got to find the positive out of what we did accomplish and work from there and try to build on those positive things instead of focused on the negative things and the things that we didn't do well.
Now, are you currently coaching AAU as well?
Yeah, AAU is starting up this week. I'll be coaching the 9th grade team.
Yeah. So what's the team?
We're called Bremer Elite. This is
nice.
my second year. I started a program last year. We had a fifth grade team and an eighth grade team. My assistant coach coached the fifth grade, and I coached the eighth grade. And the plan was to not have a whole lot of teams, just to build a couple different teams with really good coaches to, again, provide that development and help the kids grow and be ready.
Yeah.
For me, had those kids be prepared for high school basketball. And the plan was for the coaches to stick with them. So I'll stay with that ninth grade team. Then we'll be 10th, 11th, and 12th. And then the fifth grade coach, he would stay with them until they graduate.
Yeah.
And that's just to have that chemistry and help them build. We started the seventh grade team this year.
That's cool.
So back like to when we talked about before about AAU. So is your approach different? Like, are you trying to get these kids to like think about it differently than like most kids do about AAU? Because like of how much it's like I'm going to get mine so that these
Yeah, there's a hero
Yeah.
ball component of AAU versus a team component.
Right. Yeah. We don't have that at all. A lot of the AAU teams in the area have like 3 ninth grade teams, 3 eighth grade, 4 sixth grade. Like it's just so watered down. And I have 1 ninth grade and 1 sixth and 1 seventh. And what I'm teaching them is the exact same stuff that we're doing on the high school level. So there is no hero ball. There is no going out and just playing one-on-one and getting yours. Like they're learning exactly what my high school guys are learning, like the different principles, the different schemes, defensively, offensively, moving the ball, playing defense, boxing, like all those fundamental things that they're going to need when they go to their coach for their freshman year or JV and varsity. A lot of my guys played JV and varsity this year just because they were prepared for that and they were ready when they was coming into it.
I would definitely say one of the most intriguing things to me about like a great basketball coach when I watch it is how they're able to balance, the sort of the Picasso creative mindset of a great player, but also integrate that to a team. So it's not just one guy or gal taking over a program or a team and just sort of integrating it into the whole. How do you do that? How do you sort of coach in such a way that you allow for proper defense, you allow for proper, offensive plays and all that, but yet let somebody be who they are?
I defensively, I like demand perfection. Like I ask for perfection. I always tell them, I know you won't be perfect. Nobody's perfect, but when you try to reach perfection, you're gonna get as close to it as you can. So there, I don't really have much wiggle room, or they don't have much freedom on like defensive schemes because it's things that I want to learn. Then on the offensive end, I try to make it a little bit more fun for them. So I give them more freedom to shoot threes and be themselves, all in that team system. Like you let guys know what their roles are, and a lot of guys, they understand their roles and who's able to do what, who's allowed to do what. So that's the way I break it down. And we had some great offensive guys, but getting them to buy in on that defensive end, and then on the offensive end, still being unselfish at the same time, knowing that if they want to take over the game, they're able to take over the game, but still got to be within the offense, still have to be good shot.
Yeah, that was like going to Grove, a weird adjustment was like I knew I was like the best player there, or at least like number 2. Like I would be the backup guy. And we had such a controlled offense that like it felt like for me at a lot of times like I was so restricted. Like I didn't think that even if it was the last 8 seconds of the shot clock, like I was like, I have to still run the offense. And it got to a point where like we started losing games, especially my freshman year, because like we had no one who was willing to take a shot.
Exactly. They're almost too locked into a system that
that's
nobody wants to peel out and actually take the shot.
That's that fine line. Like I want them to run their offenses too, but at the same time, I tell them, you guys can't be robots. You still got to be basketball players. Like we can draw all this stuff up in plays and everything, but if it's something that you see and you're capable of doing it, then you have all the right to do it. If you do it too many times, or if it's not working, then I'll let you know. But I will give all of them their freedoms to do what they're best at. Like a non-shooter can't shoot a pull-up 3 in transition, of course, but someone that's able to shoot that pull-up 3 in transition, I'm all for it. Or a driver, I'm all for it.
But say in that instance, a non-shooter wants to shoot it. What if they're working on that part of their game and they want to try it? You know what I mean? Like this is what's interesting about the sport is everybody's on different levels and they're kind of trying to get to the same place, right? To be. I mean, I guess what I'm really ultimately asking is like, how much of it is stay in your lane and do what you're good at, or versus be a complimentary basketball player?
That's what the summers are for in the preseason, to understand like what you're able to do, what you can and can't do, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. So you work on all those things in the summer, and I let guys be even more free in the summer just to see like, can he shoot this 3? Can he do that? I don't really limit too many of our players during the summertime. bigs, guards, whatever it is, just to see what they're capable of. And as the season gets closer, as the practices become more intense and the games start to get closer, you start to let the players know, like,
Yeah.
this is what your strength is. Like, it's just not a pull up three. It might be a catch and shoot three on the penetrating kick, all for it. But this player right here, this is what he does. He can do that. Or if you're just a rebounder, just tell him to be the best at your position and what you're
Yeah.
the best at. Like, if you're a great rebounder, just go out there and be a great rebounder. The hard part is for the kids. They hear from the stands like, "Oh man, you only had 5 points today, or you only had 3." And like, yeah, but I had 15 rebounds. My plus minus was 12, and
Right.
we won by 30. Then you have a kid that had 30, and their friends say, "Oh man, you had a great game. You had 30 points. You was doing what you were supposed to do," and he ended up losing the game. His plus minus was
Right.
-5. So they don't really. It's hard to get that into the kid's mind. Like, it doesn't all. Everything is not about points, and we
Yeah.
keep that plus minus stat. So however long you're in the game, that's your contribution to the game.
Now, go on.
That was like, so when this year, our coaches were trying to tell us, like, they want us to adapt, like develop new skills, like create new things. And so we had like a bunch of like check marks for like when we'd be allowed to do something. So like to be allowed to shoot, we had a specific drill where you have to break 100 makes on it. And then if you hit it, then from that like point of the arc, you could shoot freely, like in the game.
That's
whenever.
interesting.
Yeah. I've seen some of those things on the internet. And I don't agree with them at all. Like,
I thought it was bad.
Yeah.
I personally, because like there's a lot of guys who hit the 100 mark, I know, and could not shoot. There is like obviously
There's game intensity, and there's
Mhm.
there's all that sort of stuff too.
you
It's
smell
like
that popcorn in the gym. It's like
Yeah.
different. It changes
that
you up.
focus, it's
Yeah.
that focus. Like, like I said, like there's kids on the team who are shooting below 20% from three, like all season, and I knew they hit 100.
Mhm.
I trust my teammates to do what they can do, and like when
Yeah.
they make that shot, like I'm not going to sit there and be like, "Oh, like what are you doing?" or like hate on them then.
Right.
But it's like just knowing like we have this like set rule, but then kids who are hitting the set rule just can't do it in game because it's just a different
Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah.
Something else weird.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. And this is something that's always intrigued me. It's like there's people who are gamers, and there's people who are great, in practice. And like I know in running, you can have a great Strava, which is like where all your workouts are sort of presented to the internet and on the app, and it's like you can look amazing on Strava, but then you race terrible.
Right.
And then there's some guys whose Strava just looks boring and vanilla, and they
Mhm.
love it, and then they go just slaughter people in races. And it's like some people are just gamers. Like, what was it like? Obviously to get to the levels you got to, say, what was it about your game that basically helped you play better, essentially?
I think
Like be a gamer,
I think like Isaac said, like when you have to hit 100, like you're just sitting in one spot, you'll shoot 5 and go to the next spot, shoot 10, whatever. So it's not game like you're not running back and forth, you're not fatigued, your body's not getting hit. And for me, when I trained, I tried to make everything game like I was going 100%. So I wouldn't last long in a lot of the workouts, but I was giving everything I did. So now that when I'm fatigued and I'm trying to make this shot off this pick and roll, my
Yeah.
body understands in the game, like, oh, I'm used to this. I've been tired before and shot this shot. So the kids that are making that 100, and then it comes game time, they shoot under 20% because now they done went up and down the court 4 times without a timeout.
Yeah.
Now they got to shoot this 3 with a hand in his face, and there's no hand in your face, anything like that. So it changes the perception of scoring and making that 3-point shot.
So we're kind of rounding third in the episode here. Now, question I've been meaning to ask you: what did you like better, coaching or playing?
Oh my goodness! While I was playing, I never thought I would be a coach.
Yeah.
I never thought. A lot of my coaches told me like, I think you should get into the coaching career.
Oh
but
wow, they called that out.
Yeah, I have a big heart, and I know I've been that guy that was at the end of the bench, and I knew I was better than some of the guys playing, and I just didn't feel like I could have someone sit for 40 minutes that comes to practice every day and works extremely hard. But now I understand it, and it happens for sure because
Yeah.
you have 15 guys, you only can play about 8 or 9. So I think I enjoy coaching now in the moment just to be able to give back, to relate to the kids. I'm really relatable to the kids, and any position that any of the kids have been in, I've been in that position. So
Yeah.
I know how to handle it and talk to them. I've been the guy that scored 30. I've been the guy that came 6-man off the bench. I've been the guy that got benched, and I've been the guy that didn't play at all. So like I can relate to anybody. So I think coaching and just me giving back, and I believe that's my calling, just to help as many
Yeah.
youth as I can.
Do you still ball?
I do. We have a game on the 22nd, a celebrity game after the Cleveland Charge. So I got to get in a little bit better shape than that. But for that, it's gonna be different. But I play with the guys in the summertime
Yeah.
a lot. We play 5-on-5, or we'll play 1-on-1, king of the court and stuff
Yeah.
like that. During the season, I don't do much to them, but preseason and postseason, I do a lot.
All right. This is another loaded question. Who's better, LeBron or Jordan?
I get that one a lot. I'm gonna go with LeBron, but I've played in that era. I played when and I've been able to watch him pretty much my whole life. Jordan in the 80s, I was 10 years old and 9 years old in 89. So I didn't really see Jordan live. You hear so many great things about him and you see so many great things about him, but being able to play with someone that's in that GOAT category and watch them for the majority for all of their career, I would have to go with LeBron.
What was it like to guard LeBron?
It was almost impossible. He's 6'9", he's 240 pounds. I'm 6'1", a soft 190. So, I mean, he did what he wanted to do. Guys like that, I guarded both of them. I guarded LeBron and I guarded Mike. When neither one of them I could stop. You just hope that they miss. Try to play as good a defense as you can and hope that they miss, but you really don't affect them.
My cop-out answer is always with LeBron Jordan conversation is I think Jordan would probably win one-on-one, but LeBron would win if he had a team because he's a better Swiss Army knife.
Right. And then LeBron's longevity, that just helps him become the better one. He's been playing he's 40 plus now, and he
just got like his second injury ever last night.
To his groin.
It's just like that's basically been his only injury.
His stats right now are almost the exact same as when he was 20-year-old, 23-year-old, and won the MVP. Like, that's incredible.
And it's crazy because the Lakers aren't even a bad team. Like, they're right now.
Yeah,
second
I don't even know when that happened. They went to the 2 seed. They're second.
Right now. So it's like he went from
oh my god, I didn't know
40
that.
years old. And he's on the second best team, fourth best team in the league, like,
and the best player on that team.
Yeah,
still.
Yeah, like,
jeez,
it's insane. Like, just that time, like, even I think like he's been playing basketball for as long as I've been alive.
Right.
Like, from when I was born, he was already in the league.
Yeah.
So it's like,
and he's still there.
Like, and he's still doing it. Like,
but he takes care of his body and like nutrition. They say he spends like $1 million on his body in the summertime and stuff like that. So he takes care of himself.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I feel like that is always a big theme of this podcast is the nutrition component. I think that's one of the biggest keys to athletes making it to the next level is those that pay attention to that more because, when we were growing up, our food sourcing was a lot better. I mean, a box of cereal in 94 is different than a box of cereal now. It's a totally different product. One literally kills you and one was fine for food back in the day.
Right.
And so people really do have to be very cognizant of their diet if they are going to be durable and play at the next level. Because I legitimately think if we go at the rate we're going, sport will be continually from a physical and contact standpoint dumbed down because athletes are just getting less stable, less durable as time goes on.
I agree. That's why it's so many injuries now. And I'm like, how are they have all this technology? How are there so many injuries? But a lot of the technology, I think, sometimes hurts the player. Like when we were younger, we just had basic strength movements. Now you got so many different things. And like you said, the food is awful. Now you really got to pay attention to the ingredients. And like you said, the cereal is different. The ketchup is different. The drinks are different. Like everything is different. If you're not cognizant of that and paying attention to it, you'll be fine for the first couple of years. But then as it goes on to get to that longevity, it just start hitting you. You just start having pains and start having injuries that you would never expect.
Yeah, and I think in general, I think the interaction right before the podcast, your son comes and we offer him up, hey, do you want to play Smash or do you want to go play at the playground? And the dude goes and plays the playground. It's like I feel like the generations that are coming through, they just spent so much more time not on their feet. I mean, what else was there for us to do?
Nothing.
Like just beat each other up in the neighborhood and run around. Like that's literally, you were literally never out the house.
Right.
Like it's even in the winter, you were just out, like
out playing. It's so sad now when you ride past the parks and stuff.
They're just
that we
empty.
Used to play, they're empty. They're like,
or all the parents are there like hawking on them, instead of it just like,
or they have the cameras out trying to post something to Instagram.
No, I remember back when I was younger, my mom used to like kick me out the house. Like it used to be like we had like a whole block party every single day.
If you do that now, you'll literally get people called on. The child services called on.
What's going on, right?
Like, who's with this kid?
And now sometimes you don't even want your kids to go out the house because just people are so different.
It's a different world for sure,
world, really.
And I think that is overall playing a role in that matters. But kind of as we're closing up the episode here, you have a gym now, right? So
F45.
tell us about that.
It's group training downtown on
Downtown Cleveland?
on East 6 and Superior, downtown Cleveland's F45. And you got different training on different days. It's group training, a really fun family type atmosphere. All levels of experience are welcome. We Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays is all strength days if you want to get strong. Tuesdays and Thursdays are cardio days if you really want to work on your cardio. And then you have a Saturday and a Sunday where it's a mixture of both cardio and strength. So it's really fun. We've been open for about a year and a half now. And it's been a really, really good experience. Like I coach a lot of the classes down there and do a lot of the personal training with the people that are in there.
Yeah. What was the ambition for that to get it set up?
It was I was training at one in Beechwood and ended up moving to Solon. And then I met one of the owners, Kara. She was talking about opening one up, and it was her dream just to have one of those. And she found that territory that was open for downtown because a lot of territories are taken. And we went out and opened it up, and it's been smooth sailing ever since.
Nice. Well, any last, as we're closing up the episode here, any last tidbits that you want to tell the audience? Any advice or insights that you can pull from your career or coaching?
Yeah, my biggest advice is close your ears, keep those blinders on, and just have a straightforward vision. Understand what you want to do and what your goal is, and just know that it's not going to be a smooth path. The path is going to be bumpy. It's going to be hard at times. You're going to feel like quitting. You're going to feel like, am I supposed to be doing this? But if that's what you want to do, just to keep moving forward, and good things will happen.
I love it. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us on the episode. And thanks again for anybody that's listening or watching. And feel free to share this with anybody you might know that's looking to get to the next level, really in any sport. But obviously, we got a basketball professional here. And so this is great insight for specifically basketball as well. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate it. Dr. Leo here. Be sure to check out my new book, Faster Without Fail, Your Guide to Overcoming Injuries and Running Faster Than Ever. It is now available on Amazon. You could read reviews on the Amazon. You can check out what other people have said about it. But basically, if you want to revolutionize your running form and better understand how to stay injury-free within the sport, this is your guide. Feel free to reach out and let us know what you think of the book. I would love to hear your feedback. But again, please check it out on Amazon. Faster Without Fail. Appreciate it. Dr. Leo here. If you want to catch me in another setting, be sure to check out my YouTube page, Running Rehab, where you will find exercises on how to stay healthy with running, how to improve your running form, and a bunch of other tips and tricks on how to get over common injuries.